going on, going thing.
Hello everyone, welcome to Jobless Developer. So far, we got to know what HTML is and what is its structure. Let's try to understand the actual structure by looking at the code. So, before we do that, let's open our IDE, which is nothing but WebStorm, and let's know one more thing before we do that. Let's try to create a folder and try to open that folder using the WebStorm. So now that you have your WebStorm open, let's create a folder on the desktop. Let's say it as practice underscore HTML. You can open the folder and no need to create any file. See, if I try to create a HTML file, there is nothing like to create a HTML file. But if you want to create a HTML file, you can directly open the WebStorm. You can say file, open the folder. In this, you can locate your folder if you want, or else there is one more way in which you can locate your folder. Open the folder, copy the path, and paste it here. It will file in the folder for you itself. It's very simple, right? And I want this to be open in this window instead. And once you click on this project, it will open this. So now that you have opened the folder, you'll have your practice under HTML folder, which is empty right now because I don't have any files in it. Now, depending upon what file you want to create and in which folder you want to create, right click on that folder, go to new, and in here you can file all the files which you can create with this. So for now, if you want to create a HTML file, then select the HTML file option. If you want to create a new folder, go with the directory option. If you want to create a style sheet such as CSS file, then click on style sheet. If you want a JavaScript file, go with the JavaScript file, and so on. All the related folders are here. For now, I want to create a HTML file. So let's create a HTML file. And what would be the name of the HTML file? It's saying. So here, let's say I want it to be practice, and you don't need to write HTML, .html. It will automatically create by itself. And we have another thing over here, such as it is saying there are three different kinds of files available, formats, which format you want in. HTML4 and XHTML are the earlier versions of HTML5. So you choose the HTML5 version, as we are going to concentrate mainly on the HTML5 and learn all the concepts, and press OK. Once you have selected OK, you can see that your folder is on the left side and it's being created a practice.html file, and you don't need to press enter the .html. It will automatically create upon selecting what type of file you want to create. And on the right side, you can see the code associated or which is present in that file. So let's go in detail and understand what these things are. Right. The first line, which is nothing but the doc type. It is saying to the browser, this line states to the browser that my document type, the following document type, whatever is there, it is in the language called HTML. It is saying that the following code is in the format of HTML. That is the main thing. But if you go with the HTML4 or XHTML, this line will be a very lengthy one. In HTML5, the programmers or the developers of HTML had cut short the version and made it a small statement here. So it's a simple version. It's easy to understand. It's just saying that my following doc type is in the HTML format. All the tags, whatever are there, they are associated or related to what HTML language is. So let's take our same old example which we took in order to understand the HTML. Let's take the human body. The human body, let's go with image instead. Human body, as we said, it consists of head and a body. So in the whole human body, there is a point where the human body is starting and human body is ending. Whereas there is also a section where the head is starting and head is ending. Whereas rest of the body is starting and rest of the body is ending. The separate part, this is called as a segment, a section. I want head to be a separate section compared to the rest of the body in the whole human body. So if I want to do that in normal programming language, there used to be something like a curly braces. There used to be a curly braces and people used to write code within this one. They used to write a code here. But we don't have curly braces in our HTML language. So what do we use as a curly braces? Instead of these braces, what do we do is we use tags. Tags of what? Tags of the elements which we want to start. So normally, let's take human body as a HTML document. My starts. Human body starts. This is called as a start tag. And if there is a tag with a slash in front of the name, then it is called as an end tag. It's saying that in line number 11, my human body is starting, and in line number 19, my human body is ending. Now that you got to know that the whole thing is a human body, I want to divide this body into two parts. One will be the head and another one will be the body. So let's do the same thing. In order to do that, I'll create a head and I will close the head here. Same with the body. I'll open the body and I'll close the body. So this is how the structure goes like. If you open the head, you need to close the head. If you don't close the head, then whole thing will be considered as a head. So all the associated things related to head. If I want eyes, nose and everything, they should be mentioned here itself. I cannot mention them here. I cannot mention the fingers here because fingers doesn't come under the head section. Same in this way, let's go back to our HTML code. The HTML code, it's starting over here and ending over here. You can see there is a head section separate and there is a body section separate, right? Now that you got to know what open tag is and what close tag is, or start tag and end tag, now that you got to know about these three things, now you need to understand what attribute is. You might be wondering, you said HTML is like this, but why is there something which is associated beside this? Okay, before we understand that, let's take one more example. Let's assume you're having a pen. Let's assume you're having a pen which is blue in color. The body of the pen is blue in color. Then how you can mention it? Normally, if I want to create attribute for a pen, then I'll say it as a pen. My pen is having a color which is blue in color, so its body is blue in color. So with this I will say that it is having an attribute. So that blue in color describes what pen is. So that blue in color is associated just for the pen. If I'm having some other object which is not blue in color, I cannot add that as a blue in color because only my pen is having a blue in color. So I'll say my pen is having its body which is blue in. So I'll say I'm having my pen and its body is blue in color. And you can close your tag, of course. You can close it if you want. So this is how you explain an attribute. Attributes just describe the extension of element. So it helps in extending the element. The same goes with the HTML as well. This second line is stating that the following language is in English format. So that is what this line is trying to say. The following language is in English format. If you want to write a Japanese format or Chinese format or Russian format, you have its respective language codes. You just need to replace that code in here and the tags will be replaced as well. So once that you got to know what attribute is and what element is, all these things are called as tags or elements. As we discussed in the first video itself, these are called as elements or tags. So now that you got to know what doc type is and what HTML tag and attributes are, let's try to understand what the next part is. So once you open the HTML document and close the HTML document, the whole thing is considered as a HTML file. The same goes with the human body. I'll say HTML will have a closing tag. So I'll say that this whole document, all the code within this is a format of one HTML file. It comes under only one HTML file, and each HTML file will have its own head and a body associated with it. Open the head tag, close the head tag. Open the body tag and close the body tag. So you know that the whole document will have a head section separate and a body section separate. Now let's try to understand what head section consists of by default. So now that you got to know what head section is, let's try to understand this slide. So what is char set and why is it mentioned over there? Char set, this line states that the default character set which has to be displayed onto the website. Let's go to the website for say Google here. The text and the char set on this Google page on this website is in the format of English and UTF-8. UTF-8 is a default character set that is supported by all the browsers. So it will by default display the character set in the form of 8-bit. UTF-8 and in English because it's picking up my location over here. Depending upon your location, it will change the language. Now that you got to know what char set is, it is very much optional to write the code. You don't need to have mention about this one because by default the character set is UTF-8. But HTML5 also supports UTF-16. If you are having a document or if you're having a HTML file which is in UTF-16 format or the char set, then you need to mention it in the form of UTF-16 because by default it will assume that that document, that HTML document is in the format of UTF-8. Now that you have understood the basic structure of HTML and why doc type is used over there and what is the meaning of lang, attributes, tags and elements, let's jump on to the next video where we'll be focusing on how to display the content onto the website and also discover more tags. Thanks for watching this video guys. Have a nice day.